Hello everyone. I am just about to tweet that I am streaming. Although sometimes that gets a little fuzzy when I try and do that in the middle of a stream because my computer starts going into a little bit of a conniption. So let's go ahead and pop in there and to use my phone because that tends to be a little bit more reliable. So we've got some big news today, or at least relatively speaking. We're going to switch up the schedule a little bit, and that is to say the 8 games a week I'm running are going to be a little bit different now. Alright, but let me go ahead and tweet first that I am on so that people are aware. We might get up to 2 viewers today, if we're lucky. We're going to tweet planning my 8D and TTRPG games today live on Twitch. Come watch. Twitch.tv/Elven Wizard King. Alright, sorry, I have just tweeted. And alright. We are good to go. Alright. And Droop Dog, hello. I hope you are not a bot, but if you are, I hope you are a nice bot. Alright. So we've got my Monday game. And we're just gonna do a little planning. Maybe new players tomorrow. And this is, as you know, or as you may know, my game that I run at my workplace. And I work at a school game. If we get new players, then we run Tenets of Bane. So that'll be good. If not, we continue with Out of the Abyss and have Sloop Ladop be a place where players learn more about Demon Lord Invasion. Also introduce Shushar. So to give you an idea, I'm trying to get more kids to join the D&D club that we've got going at school. And because we've had a campaign that's been going for a decent amount of time with like level 5 characters and what have you, I'm hoping to start fresh with like a new mini campaign of about 4 sessions to bring new kids in and just kind of have a better on-ramp for them. But if not, we'll just keep going, and I just need to do a little bit of planning to have the group come back to Sloop Ladop. We're not going to have it destroyed by Demogorgon as it is in the books, but we'll kind of go from there. Now, this next part, Tuesday 1, let's call it, is going to be super interesting and exciting because I had a group of people approach me about running a game, and we kind of went the rounds as to what we wanted to play. It was either Heavy Gear, if you know the Dream Pod 9 game Heavy Gear. Someone threw out Starfinder was the suggestion, and I really wanted to run Demon the Fallen as we've talked about in previous episodes. But that being said, there was no bad choice in all of these. All of those sounded like really good games for me to play, and Warhammer 40k so far has won. And we're going to do a 40k game, and there's a lot to plan. And rank 2 to 3, more or less, is where we want to land. And the difference between rank and... Well, let's talk about the ranks for Warhammer 40k. So most of you know Warhammer 40k. It's all about the distant future of the year 40,000. That's where it gets its name. And there's just pure war and space mayhem with space marines and tyrannids and all of the good things that StarCraft ripped off of Warhammer 40k. We'll talk about that another time, maybe. Should be an interesting conversation with the craziness between all the stuff Blizzard did that Games Workshop did first. But anyway, rank 1, rank 2, rank 3. Come on now. Whoops. Rank 4. Alright. Rank 1 is your basic soldier. Cadian, if you know what a Cadian soldier is. That's kind of where you're at. Rank 1, you're just a normal person with normal equipment. You don't have a high rank. You don't have anything powerful about you. Rank 2, you're a Space Marine Scout. There's a lot of different options you have. But basically, you're just kind of like a smaller, more agile Space Marine. You're tough, you're genetically engineered, but you're not the rank and file. I shouldn't call them rank and file, but you're not the standard issue Space Marine that's twice the size of the Gears of War main characters. So anyhow, rank 3, you're just a Space Marine. That's how tough that is. And then rank 4, you're something stronger than a Space Marine. Like an Orc War Boss. And we can talk about that at another point, but like Warhammer 40k's got a lot of lore, and a lot of that lore is centered upon the various factions, whether you have the Imperium of Men, where the Space Marines come from, the Eldar, which are basically space elves, you've got the Tau, who are just like weird psychic people, and so on and so forth. But anyhow, there's different factions at play, and orcs are one of them, and orcs are basically like psychic fungus people that are very hard to kill, and they tend to take over entire planets just by being psychic fungus people. That being said, orc war bosses are like among one of the strongest things you can have, and they're stronger, and we can talk about the chaos armies at another point. But boy, oh boy, there's a lot to learn about the lore of Warhammer 40k, and like, I mean, it's a lot. Actually, let's see, I forgot that I had turned my volume all the way up, so we're going to turn the music volume down just a skosh, just a tad. Hopefully y'all can hear me okay and I wasn't drowning myself out. Okay, but that's just a little primer on what it means. So rank 2 to 3, we want something that's like Space Marine adjacent. Not much stronger than that. That's on the upper echelons of what we want to do. But we really want to start playing around with the world, the setting of Warhammer 40k. It's not a world; it's a universe. But I want something that's going to feel different. I don't just want to have a war campaign against the Chaos Gods. I don't want it to just be like, oh, here comes Nurgle. Now we're going to have to fight against Nurgle. And it's just going to be one big long campaign fighting against disease freaks. I want this to be a little bit different. I don't want this to really play with like the politics of your Imperium type people. I want this to really kind of like feel like it is worthy of planet hopping. So why don't we let me see. We're gonna start on a rogue trader ship. The ship is evacuating people who were rescued from a planet invaded by Dark Eldar, because nobody wants to mess with Dark Eldar. And Dark Eldar are basically like Cenobites, maybe the best way I have of describing them. They're just all about like raw sensation until the thing dies, and so they're not good. They're not good. So yeah, Dark Eldar kind of started showing up in droves. The rogue trader ship decided to evacuate. Can include an Imperium escort, as the base on planet was also evacuated, and some Imperium forces on rogue trader ship. Enter the group. So this is where we're gonna really get the melting pot. So I don't know. We get Space Marine dude showing up in the rogue trader. Maybe he had to jump on the ship. Didn't have time to get on the escort. If we have an Eldar somewhere, maybe the Eldar was there to warn the people to say, hey, Dark Eldar are coming. All kinds of really interesting and varied things. There could have been people who are on the rogue trader ship from before. And to kind of describe it, rogue trader, damn it, ships are independent of Imperium, provide mercantile services to the galaxy, let's just say, and are a melting pot point to which the Imperium at large turns a blind eye. So basically, you've got these kind of like merchant princes who run these big ships. There's like city ships that have tons of people on them. Think like a cruise ship that goes through, like as big as a cruise ship, something that like could hold a ton of people. And they basically go from planet to planet, getting things from one to deliver to the other, so that the resources can be bought and sold, and money can be made. And rogue traders tend to be very, very rich, but they also provide for the people who live in their ships. So they're interesting. That's an interesting part of the setting. I can go a little bit into my understanding of that aspect of this history of Warhammer 40k at some point, but we'll talk about that a different time. Anyways, I love the idea of starting on a rogue trader ship because it gives us a lot to work with. And if somebody wants to be a rogue trader prince as a character, boom, done. It would be the perfect onboard. So, on the ship. Whoops. So I don't want to be super cliche and just be like, oh, someone's on board with a dark secret. But I want this to be interesting. So the first session should be them all getting to know each other. And I want something to happen on the ship. Okay, I've got it. Let's see, how do I want to have this go? Non-Imperium Mechanist. No. Let's scratch that. Here we go. People who claim they are Imperium researchers attached to the Adeptus Mechanicus have a damaged Necron with them. The Necron is in stasis and has a key that can open a tomb world. Now, if I'm moving too quickly for y'all, so Necrons are these weird, kind of, sort of alive machines that were built to fight against an old race that no longer exists. And when they defeated that race, they kind of turned on their masters and defeated them. And that's a long story, but there were so many Necrons that they number into like the quadrillions, I think, and they're scattered all around the galaxy in what is called tomb worlds. And the most disturbing thing is that any world could be a tomb world because these the Necrons were interred into these worlds millions, maybe even up to billions of years ago, and just stayed there. And so it's entirely possible that a planet might be like, oh, here's some Necrons that have been hiding in here for millions and millions of years, and all of a sudden they got a message to rise up and destroy everything in the sector. And that's what they do. They basically destroy everything, and Necrons have the imperative to destroy anything with the soul. And I'm not entirely sure why, but they absolutely do want to destroy anything that has a soul. Which is very interesting. And it makes them the enemy to a lot of people, even some people that you might consider the bad guys. So anyhow, Necron is in stasis, has a key that can open up a tomb world. And in fact, I don't like the key. Let's just call it a map. Said tomb world holds potentially neutral and non-sentient weapons that could aid the faction that finds them. Maybe even a dreadnought type ship. I love this. Okay, this is something to work with. So we're not going for like, oh, we got to fight against the invasion from the bad guys. No, this is going to be a race against time and a bunch of really creepy people to try and get to the dreadnought ship first. That's fantastic, because we're not fighting Tyranids yet. We're not fighting the Agents of Chaos yet. It doesn't have to be a giant war, even though war is ubiquitous in Warhammer 40k, which the name would imply. I want this to not be about a big conflict. And I want this to not be about some, like, chaos. Sorry. Ugh. I don't want this to be about chaos, like bringing corruption to the Imperium, because I can tell that story, but I want to tell a different story just this moment. Second fragment of map belongs to wealthy family on Agro World. And I don't know if I'm spelling it right, but like an agro world is like one of the worlds the Imperium uses to grow food. And they're very important, as you might imagine. Okay. That's stuff. That's stuff I can work with. There's still a lot to go before we really understand where the group is going to go. Have not played Klaus and Gnome. Have not had a chance to do all this fun red stuff, so we're going to skip. We're still investigating Demon the Fallen. It's been like really decades since I played that game, and I want to play it again. That is to say, run it. I still need to do my homework. I still need to watch the Prophecy and Dogma and Exorcist and John Carpenter's Vampires and X-1999. Maybe I don't need to watch that. And Highlander: The Search for Vengeance. A lot of fun World of Darkness stuff we talked about last week. I think it was last week. Wednesday, Dawn of Thay. We did get to play. Let's see. So there's a frozen mage from the Ancient Empire of Netheril, and I'm kind of like having this weird Netherese trilogy almost in some of the games that I'm running. And that frozen wizard is going to be Garvardi, and Garvardi is directly related to the other Wednesday game that I do, so it should be fun. I think everything else is in place. I have to just remember that it's Garvardi I'm using. What to do with the woken part? Can ask questions and refreeze. If stays awake for an hour, will return. Okay, can be refrozen. Okay, Helton never. Okay, group may found. Yeah, I think we've got some good stuff. Gauntlegrim, Underdark Excursion. Group wants to get things like adamantine and maybe some other magical stuff, like a Millennium Seed. Maybe let Rogue have cool oh, come on. Familiar like a Tresim because she found a cool book. Okay. That's pretty much it. Dreams of Myth and Old Draenor. We still need to tie in Valindra. However, the group is they did some interesting things. They're not about to fight Garvardi. They kind of went through a lot. They went through a whole 5-room dungeon. Hello. Latent Forever Turboge. Oh my goodness. Looney, we skipped your part, or well, we didn't skip your part. We briefly went over your part, so you don't have anything to worry about. Big castle, lots of danger. Maybe use Amber Temple. And God, I'm lazy. I love using the Amber Temple as a shorthand for like a big creepy place, but I think it's very appropriate here, and it should be very interesting. And they'll have to go through. I should just buy this stupid book for the Amber Temple. And I hate that I'm buying more books on Roll20, but it's really tying me to the platform. And at some point, I'm going to just have to be selling out another $60 a year just to keep that service in check. But there we are. And all right, so that's what we're gonna do. But for right now, I can just download a map. I could even maybe buy a map. I think they're maybe available to buy. But okay, let me just think about this. Let's use the Amber Temple. I keep dodging these spoilers like Neo dodges bullets. I kind of do that on purpose, Looney. I'm very mindful of what I want to do with all of that. Have Garvardi be somewhere in the temple, maybe in Mummy Room. So this is going to artificially extend this whole section. I was going to have them have like this kind of semi-final conflict, but now they're just going to have this big, huge to do. But I think that's good. If I use the Amber Temple, I should be good. If I'm diligent, I can add that map and get it ready for them. But if not, I might mess things up. Okay, Sam, I don't know if you've actually even been watching at any point, so I guess don't worry about it. War drums. There's a lot of stuff going on, and they're kind of getting to this weird place. So, Shantico. So okay, we can delete these because we're all set. Come on. We had a revelation last week in that. Oh man, I'm so bringing the Pontifex into this. Zoliad. Okay, Schism with Nimro. Okay, for the future, Balgor Wasteland, homework, Gertrude wants to do to help. Consider younger clone of her as an antagonist? No, I went with something completely different. Gertrude, Arch Lizard Mage, consort to Zoliad, multiple clones still exist in multiple dimensions. One of my players actually figured that out. Original Gertrude consumed by Pontifex. Oh, yes, that's right. Oh, yes, that's right. Clones are autonomous. Original Gertrude is nice and kind and was once a check on Zoliad's power and ambition. Pontifex secret to be revealed, maybe a sub-boss fight to finally defeat. Okay, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be great. Expand this idea a little bit more. No, so last game they met Gertrude and they started to mention Zoliad, and the name Zoliad was like this kind of weird embedded like trigger word like you would see in a spy or something. But anyways, they realized that it was making Gertrude react a certain way, and they realized that Gertrude was tied to Zoliad in a weird way. And the group was through some very impressive disadvantaged history checks figure out that Gertrude is a legendary arch lizard mage, and in this setting, lizard mages are like stronger than liches, like really powerful. Anyhow, they figured out a bunch of stuff, but they don't know that Gertrude was consumed by the Pontifex and is one of the most powerful souls that the Pontifex has. So that should be interesting. They will be able to free Gertrude from the Pontifex. Gertrude Prime. Well, no, Gertrude the First, I guess. Let's say. I don't know that I need to do much to expand this idea. The group is going to have to talk to Mildred. Mildred is actually, let's quantify this. Group will have to, and then let's go ahead and start some bullets. So, group will have to talk to Mildred, who will teleport group to desert in a grotto underground where a big fight between two creatures is taking place. Group also has to shop with Gertrude. Gertrude. No, Gertrude. Talk to Dragonrite. God, my spelling's all off today. Army. Bring... Shoot. Runaki, question mark? Bring... who's it? Liali, question mark? Sounds like they're bringing Liali. Probably going to want to bring Runaki. Let's see. Middle Mist, question mark? Augurs say Sandpoint is safe. Final check. Does group want to parley with Nimro and Sunder Blackrock? Question mark. Or maybe send a delegation? Question mark. Maybe send a Ronaki? Question mark. So there's a lot going on here, but brass tacks. Evil wizard going to evil desert to claim evil god Spark. They want to stop evil wizard from getting the evil god Spark. They also learned that the evil giant empire maybe isn't so evil and was being manipulated by the evil god who got destroyed. And so they might want to go and play nice, or send someone to go play nice. So that'll come up next time. And there's a lot going on, but we're really kind of entering into the end game. There's going to be some interesting desert adventures as they go through a big, massive, irradiated magical desert with all kinds of crazy stuff. And boy, there's going to be some wackiness. Let's see. All right. So, but that's good. We've got some good stuff going on. All right. So that was the Thursday game. Friday, Peril and a Bear, we didn't get to play, so we still have to have the big fight with, let's say, fire. So it's going to be fusion golems. Lots of explosions and whatnot. I want to give the golems a fun shape though. So let's. What's a good fun shape? Like phoenixes are too predictable. Like I don't want it to be like a lava bear, but something fun. Lava giraffe. That's not iconic enough. Fusion. Let me think. What's an animal associated with the sun? I've already done an ibis. Let's stay away from birds. Let's do a fusion. No. I would do a fusion whale, but I need something that's got that there's a token for. You know what? How about this, Looney? What's like one monster in Monster Hunter that you would associate with the sun? Like something that's like so hot that it glows on its own. Something that's like so powerful. Phoenixes are too predictable. How about a phoenix person? I mean, but a phoenix person isn't what I'm looking for because he's like a robot. The premise with phoenix person is that he has come back from the dead, which is really hilarious. But no, I need something that like glows with the intensity of many suns. The sun, huh? Teostra? You know, I'm okay with a Teostra. Like, we could do a Teostra. Fusion Teostra. And I was going to have two of them, but I think one Teostra should be enough. And that'll be a fun combat for them with everything, like, exploding constantly. That's good. That makes it easy. They'll have to fight a Teostra next time. We're still talking about doing another game after this one's done. Maybe Witchlight. Maybe Curse of Strahd. We're still figuring it out. Saturday games are super easy. So we're actually just going to delete all of this. I can go back to the other one, so that's not an issue. Andrew has been running Curse of Strahd. And there's not really an end in sight on that one. Like, I think he's just doing it. And I don't know that I'm going to be running games on Saturdays, which is fine by me, which opens me up to be able to do 2 Tuesday games then. And we'll kind of do it that way. Andrew has been running Curse of Strahd. My character, Ralthar, Mobnix, Lizard Man Paladin. When I say Lizard Man, like this dude, he's not as big as Crocodile, but he's basically Crocodile. Lizard Man Paladin. Lots of fun. Planning will be tough. Hope to find a gauntlet of ogre strength. Okay. And all I have to do now is plan my character out. There's some considerations there. Raging Brachydios also tends to glow due to the explosives not being perpetually activated. I did finally, I did finally fight. What is that creature that you fight in Monster Hunter Rise? It's basically a Gundam. It's got like jet propulsion. But I was thinking one of those too, because they're pretty neat. But I think a Teostra is fine. If I send them against the Whatchahoozits, that's probably just gonna kill them all. That thing was not easy to fight. All right, Agnicor is bigger than a Teostra and also does very intense fire-based attacks. Now I'm kind of curious, what's an Agnicor? Agnactor. Leviathan, huh? Ooh, I like the look of that guy. Oh, I see. Yeah, actually, I like that guy better. Just for the purposes of this. And oh man, look at that. Looney, do you remember I sent you that one? If I could get that guy, it would be awesome, but we don't play in person anyway, so it's not a big deal. Agnactor. So let's change it, because I like that. Agnactor. So we don't have to worry about the water one. So yeah, Saturday game is really easy. Sunday, current events. Let's just let's see, group found to keep. Okay, so group defeated Sentinels. Is or rather has built raft. Will go down the river to Ryla. Valstrax, yeah. Yeah, Valstrax might be the thing I throw at them like as a final boss, or something approaching a final boss. But man, Valstrax is one means SOB. Let's see, but next leg of journey will take them to Ryla. Okay, so yeah, they just need to get to Ryla. Consider some fun things to do on river? Question mark. The big question is, what do we want to do with that? And I'm thinking, also glowy and hot, dire Morales. Morales? Yeah. Some bitch craps fiery rocks from his back and is an elder dragon to boot. Hands out one hit kills like nobody's business. Oh, I'm gonna look at this Dire Morales. This Miles Morales. Ooh, that guy looks like fun. Ooh. Well, holy heck, I think I'm gonna have to go with him instead. Dire Morales it is. Alright. So the Sunday game, where was I? Fun things to do on the river. Yes. Intercession of Raptor of the Cataclysm reveals self to be aspect of God created by blood borrowers. Intends to ally with demons against Uzus, but also against players. May even profess to trading world and moon for a layer in the abyss. I could see that happening. So Raptor of the Cataclysm is an evil demon creature that was almost instrumental in stealing the soul of like the late wife of one of the characters, and boy, he did not like that. And so the Raptor of the Cataclysm is like a very hated enemy that has not come back until now. So that's going to be really fun to reveal. Not only is he back, but he's like very, very powerful. Might even be the last boss of the campaign. I have not decided, but is allying with a demon invasion of the world that is kind of going against the person the group initially had set out to be the big bad guy. May still be, we'll see. But there's some interesting things at play. I think I can work with this. Big City of Damned Uzus has created a City of Aberrations. Let's just remove the City of Damned. Big City. Former High Priest of Exiled Gods turned into Mind Flayers. Avatar of Nomos will challenge the group to depose Mind Flayers before he's willing to help. City used to belong to him. Non-Euclidean architecture. Group made it to the laboratory where it's sent. Okay, yeah. Sentinels basically, yep. Okay, if Sentinels can be turned back, free person. Yeah, and they didn't ask. They turned the Sentinels, who are basically like Dark Lords from Howard the Duck, the 80s movie. They turned the Sentinels back into normal people, and then they didn't ask them any context for anything. But yeah, that's we've got some really good stuff, and it's gonna be really cool to see the group fight like a demigod on the river. Really, really fucking fun. Should be a blast. Oh god. Oh son of a gun. Sorry, I'm popping my back. Oh, I don't know if you heard my back pop. Goodness gracious. That felt really satisfying. Oh, all right. Well, let's see. Do we have anyone in the chat? Looney, obviously you were there, and I love you, and I'm glad that you were there. If you have questions, I'm always here to entertain them. So please feel free to do just that. There's some stuff actually that I need to do that I might try and do between now and next session. Because there's like, I'm going back up. There's stuff that I kind of need to figure out. Shushar, Abyss, Sloop Lit Up, no, that's fine. Plus the Gnome, that's fine. World of Darkness, we just talked about that. Dawn of Fae, do I need to make something here? Gauntlegram, no, I think we're good. Valindra, Gravardi, Amber Temple. Amber Temple is one of the things that I need to do, but I don't need to make a stat block necessarily. Let's see. Here, Belgar Wasteland, Arch Lizard, Mid. Okay, no, I don't think I need to create anything, and I should be able to get stats for Dire Morales pretty easily. Some very awesome individuals did stats for almost every monster in Monster Hunter for the purposes of 5th edition D&D, and it's amazing. It's the best. But all right. No, I don't. I thought I was gonna like have to sit here and do some like creation of monsters and magic items or something like that, but I don't think I do. So now I open it to my D&D and Q&A. Q&A standing for question and answer. Does anybody in the chat have any questions? Questions about the games that I've been preparing for? Maybe you are a dungeon master and want some pointers. Maybe you are curious about the overarching lore of Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe you've heard some interesting stuff about the all of the live plays of D&D that have been happening lately, and you have a question about that. I am here to answer any and all D&D related questions, even some non-ones, because I'm starting to do Warhammer 40k. Ask me a Warhammer 40k question. You've also got your, I'm reading from the chat, you've also got your Fatalis trio, but they're less hot themed and more, this is the end of everything, I am pissing my pants. I'll have to look them up. No, I think Dire Morales is really going to do the job for me, for what I need. It looks like exactly what I was envisioning in my head. Questions. So what games? Now I'll ask a question. What games do you fight the Fatalis trio? Are they only in a particular Monster Hunter? You also have a Cantor, also hot, also glowy, armor to the ass. I gotta look up a Cantor. I'm curious. Oh, that guy's cool. He kind of looks like Gamera. You were saying, not Valstrax, not Fatalis, not there. There was someone else you said, and I need to look him up. Brachydios. Come on now. Oh yeah! He's just the punch monster. Holy cow, this guy looks like you wouldn't want to run into him. Ever. He's got a curious Unit 1 from Evangelion color scheme to him. But yeah, I am not messing with this guy anytime soon. Goodness gracious. Let's see, Fatalis are fought in like OG Monhan 1 and DOS, but they've come back in XX and 4U. Very nice. Very nice. With as popular as Monster Hunter has gotten, I kind of wonder if they would ever do 4U as a Switch port, like they did with XX. And that's vanilla Brachydios. Raging Brachy is red and always explodey. Goodness gracious. Now, there's a lot about Monster Hunter that I want to learn. And yes, I have cues today. Yeah, please ask. Y Luni, no sé si te he preguntado desde hace mucho y te iba a preguntar, y por ahorita que no está pasando nada, me han dicho gente que tengo acento colombiano y no sé si me puede decir si piensas que lo tengo. De repente me encuentro hablando mucho más en español porque tenemos alguna gente que vinieron a la escuela, a mi trabajo, hablando español y hablamos de eso hoy. Ellos vienen de Venezuela. Lo bueno que vinieron acá, desde allá. Pero, ¿qué piensas? ¿Tengo acento colombiano? Or I don't know if you would know what a Colombian accent sounds like. I don't know how many Colombians end up in Mexico. But I doubt Capcom will port for you to Switch. They won't want to compete with Rise at all. You know, it's weird, but you're right, and they're working on Sunbreak. But I have a feeling that after Sunbreak, they might want to try and capitalize on, because they did Monster Hunter Stories 2, and I wouldn't have thought that they would, but they did. But and you're completely right that Rise is just their darling right now. But I feel like they might want to put something out. You know what they'll probably do is they'll put it on PC because they've been really leaning towards Steam. But yeah, I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of people very hungry for Monster Hunter content after they finish doing all of the Sunbreak stuff. Which, by the way, we need to go back and play. We need to get you to rank 100. I'm at 70 right now. I know things have been upside down, but like I miss playing with you a lot. While I'm waiting for questions, I'm going to talk about a few things that I'm excited about. Vox Machina cartoon. So I hear that it's extremely bawdy, but I'm excited to see what they did. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully it's not too over the top with the violence and the grossness, but we'll see. I've heard some people say that it was shocking. So I'm excited about that. Let's see. I'm excited about upcoming RPGs. There's a lot of stuff coming out, like the Dragon Prince RPG, which I pre-ordered. Coyote and Crow, which is an indigenous RPG. Some really cool stuff there. You sometimes sound vaguely South American in some inflections. In Spanish, not precisely Colombian in my opinion, but your mileage may vary. And yes, I'm very familiar with Colombian accents because I was a massive Betty La Fea fan. Oh yeah, that makes sense. No, I might have lost my my Colombian accent because when they told me that this was a very long time ago at this point in my life. But I went from working for like 6 years with a Colombian boss, and then we hired a Colombian assistant, and then I went to go work at a place where there were two coworkers who were Colombian. and I worked very closely with each of them, and so I think I might have picked up on it somehow. I have no idea what a Colombian accent sounds like. I wouldn't be able to pick it apart, to be honest with you. But the funny thing about that job, the second one, where I worked with the two Colombian ladies, is that the district. This was a very very white suburb I worked with or in. The district would use me to translate a lot because there were not a lot of people who could translate. Myself and the two Colombian ladies, but there were people who learned Spanish by like, oh, I learned in college, I studied abroad, I lived in Spain for 2 years. I know I miss it a lot, Looney. But anyways, the people who were like, I learned how to speak speak Spanish in college, and I studied abroad in Spain. They could not process the fast-speaking South American accents. I could hear the speed of it. I could not hear the I could not hear the inflections and so on. But I could hear the speed of the people, and like I get that it was faster, but like how fast do you gotta be talking to not understand? Like this wasn't like Micro Machines guy speed, and these people were like, "Can you translate because we can't understand them? They talk too fast." And I'm like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me! You gotta absolutely fucking be kidding me!" But here we are. Clicked on the wrong thing. There's a lot of Kickstarters that I'm excited about. I'll drop some Betty clips in your DMs so you can remember the accent. Ay, fresco, mijo, que estrés. No, there were a lot of phrases more than anything that I heard from my Colombian friends. Like they would call people culicagado, and that just sounds obscene to me. Like I'm just saying it because I'm repeating it, but like I would never call someone that. And I get it, like in that context, it's like someone who's like wet behind the ears, or like in American English, you might even say someone who's like doesn't know how to wipe their ass properly. Like that's also a crude way of saying it. It's kind of on par. But like you'd be real careful about that, or you would just be the kind of person that would just let that kind of comment fly. But the context is someone who's just young and inexperienced. A lot of no manches, but I don't know if that's like I'm just out of touch with a lot of the colloquialisms. Okay, so my question would be about 40K. What is the most morally bankrupt faction in your opinion? Ooh, that's a doozy. Oh my god. Let's just call it what it is. Most morally bankrupt faction. All right. There's no winners in 40K, and there's no good guys in 40K. But like, okay, top 5. Let's just say the Dark Eldar. You had a civilization, the Eldar, who started like basically they were created by the quote unquote old ones, not the Lovecraft old ones, but like just some weird old lizard psychics, I think, to be a servitor race, and they kind of grew out of their shackles as a servitor race and just propagated the galaxy. Had a lot of like they just had more sex than you could imagine in a million lifetimes. Like, wait until you hear the Chileans speak, like deep Chilean. La weapon, weon cleao, que esa weapon. Wow. And I thought, I thought Cubans had a real thick accent. My brother would go around saying "Ay Dios mío," Or was that Puerto Ricans? I can never remember. He was making fun of someone when he was going, "Ay, Dios mío." Dark Eldar, anyways. So Eldar, servitor race to the old ones, were tops. Like, there was no race in the galaxy and the universe that was a more successful and widespread than the Eldar. They let their success go to their heads and became massive hedonists. Like, the hedonists on the level that the hedonist bot might actually say, "Hey, let's slow it down." And in their throes of hedonism, they created a chaos god. Chaos gods are not good business. So chaos gods are like, there's Khorne, which is a corny name for a chaos god, but he's like the god of anger. And when it comes to like anger and fighting and destruction, like, Khorne's your guy. Then you've got Nurgle. Papa Nurgle is the embodiment of disease and corruption and desecration. And so he is embodied by things like pestilence and kind of the disease of war and so on. And then you have Sinch, who is like the god of, I guess, trickery, of deception. And there's a lot to him, but it's like about things that aren't what they appear to be, illusions, betrayal, and so on. No. Nobody can understand deep Chilean. I'm reading from the text, or from the chat. Who isn't Chilean? I had a Chilean customers in my B-Day party catering days, and I needed an interpreter when they got really going. Impenetrable jargon. I mean, it's funny. The people I talked to at my old job were from Chile, but they did not have a deep accent. They did not. Like, I was able to understand them, and they didn't talk like that. So probably it was not that deep Chilean. Anyways, back to the Dark Eldar. So when the Eldar created so you Sinch, the god of betrayal and trickery and all that business. Those were the three, and this is apocryphal because there are other chaos gods maybe, but the three chaos gods were Khorne, Nurgle, and Sinch. So the fourth one that was created, at least that is kind of largely recognized, is Slaanesh, and Slaanesh is the chaos god of hedonism and lust, and basically just like everything that you could imagine a Cenobite to be. So the Eldar created that, and in the process of creating Slaanesh, damned all of their souls. And when I say all of their souls, that when an Eldar dies, unless they take super duper special precautions, which most of them do now, but for a while it was dicey, their soul goes to Slaanesh, and Slaanesh can rebuild that soul into some evil demon and the warp. The warp being where the chaos gods live and do their thing. Although they send things out of the warp constantly. We'll get into that later. Anyways, most of the Eldar who survived the experience of having their souls damned decided to just say, "Hey, we screwed up, and we're going to try and make up for this and do stuff that is not going to damn our souls, and maybe even reverse it. Maybe we can defeat Slaanesh. We don't know, but we're going to try." Yeah, no, upper middle class Chileans do not do WASPeak, or if they do, they can control it. The working class, though, la madre no les entiende ni su padre. Oh my god! But no, these were relatively well-to-do Chileans that I spoke with. Their accent was not at all like that, but that's probably why. I would presume that's why. Anyhow, Dark Eldars. So Dark Eldars doubled down where most of the Eldars decided that they were going to turn away from chaos, that they were going to turn away from hedonism, and stop being so crazy. In the process of their hedonistic binges, their birth rate plummeted. And to this day, it's very difficult for the Eldar to maintain their populations, whatever. Dark Eldar are like Reavers from what am I thinking? From Firefly. So if you've ever watched Firefly or the movie Serenity, they're like Reavers. They just go around everywhere in the galaxy, capturing people, torturing them, being like completely disgusting garbage people that, like, instead of being better and turning away from Slaanesh, they're not chaos cultists in the sense that they're like, oh yeah, we love Slaanesh, but they're like, well, no, we're hedonists and we're gonna keep being hedonists and we're just gonna do hedonism to the nines. And the Dark Eldar have access to something called the Webway, just as most Eldars do, and so they're able to travel through the galaxy with relative impunity. They can kind of sort of ignore chaos to a degree, and just are just a plague upon the galaxy. There aren't many of them, but when you run up against or into any Dark Eldar, they're horrid people who will make you regret ever being alive. They are Cenobites. They will, through you, experience as many things as they can, up to and including vivisection. So the Dark Eldar are up there. Chaos. There's a lot about chaos that I could say. It's basically like the warp where chaos lives is basically like this crazy nightmare dreamscape where, like, if a person with a soul has an impulse or a dream or a thought, it then lives in the warp and can take form. And so chaos is the embodiment of that. And there's a lot of debate about whether or not chaos is evil per se. It's destructive. It's rampant. It is corrupting. But some would say that that's just a function of the way that the universe works. Like the universe effectively in Warhammer 40k starts to become this kind of like psychic feng shui of like every action has a reaction, every dream becomes a reality in the warp. There are those who say that chaos is something that people should learn to live with rather than to try and fight like the Imperium of Man does. It's weird, but what is known as a chaos, as it has taken form, leads to things like Chaos Space Marines, demons, corruption, and so I think more so than chaos itself is kind of what chaos leads to. Like let's just call it the byproduct of chaos is evil. Like the things that happen with when people give into chaos is that they allow themselves. It's like the comic series Crossed. It's like, is the disease evil? No. But is the effect of the disease on people evil? Yes, absolutely. Like it is an abandonment of inhibition, and so it makes people absolutely bugfuck evil. So let's just call it that. Imperium of Man, and yeah, the Imperium of Man. People might disagree with me on this, but the Imperium of Man is actually very morally corrupt. And it's hard to say that because it's like the Imperium of Man spans, like, I don't know, trillions of human beings across the galaxy. They're not all evil, but the gears, the inner workings of the Imperium are evil, whether by necessity or otherwise. A necessary... I don't want to call it necessary because that kind of justifies it, and I don't want to do that. A perceived necessity of autocracy. So the idea is that to be the Imperium of Man, you must have complete ironclad control over the populace. And they do that by doing things like the Inquisition. They have the Lords of Terra. They have probably, oh yeah, the Adeptus Ecclesiarchy. Or maybe it's just the Ecclesiarchy, I can't remember. But through this kind of combination of like religious and governmental autocracy, they control every aspect of people's lives. And there's a degree of that makes sense, because when they don't, then people fall to chaos. But obviously the problem with giving people complete control is that control is abused. So control leads to abuse. There's nothing anyone can do about that. And there's probably better ways to make all of this work, but with the emperor being confined to a death chair, with all of the corruption that has been endemic, with the Inquisition either being corrupt or just plain being ridiculous about their implementation of the ecclesiarchy, and with the ecclesiarchy and Lords of Terra creating rules and propagating a religion that is based on pure fiction. It is effectively very difficult for man to do anything but wage war. And the funny thing is that people have drawn parallels between the Imperium of Man sacrificing 1,000 psychers a day to the Golden Throne, and the death toll of COVID. That is about 1,000 people a day, I think, in the United States alone. So that's very, very depressingly amusing. It's a dark chuckle, let's just say that. I can make out a few... Oh, so I haven't read this. Then he says, I can make out a few South American accents, and I'm more or less proficient in imitating Argentinian. Went for a full 6 months of my life speaking non-stop in Argentinian because I like it so much, and I like insulting people by calling them pelotudo. It's amazing. That is amazing. So let's continue, though. Imperium of Man. I will contend that the Imperium of Man is just by nature evil. Like the perceived necessity of the grinding gears of war that they perpetuate, and the kind of sacrifices that they have going. Oh, come on, you were supposed to say the Tau because, well, I didn't finish, because sci-fi commies and I hate commies. I did say this was a top 5. The Tau are apparently communal society that begets evil through removal of individualism. So the Tau are interesting to talk about because the Tau is a very young race, galactically speaking. But they communicable. No, that's not what I wanted to say. They grew up very quickly into the kind of galactic stage. They have psychic abilities. They're relatively advanced in terms of technology. And their society, at least as it applies to them and them alone, is fine. The Tau have like this very communal sense. They share everything. Everything is for the quote-unquote greater good. They work very well as one. Like it's an anthill. It's an anthill. Like everybody works towards one goal and they do it very efficiently. Where the evil comes in is that the Tau will evidently take in other races through conquering or otherwise. When I say otherwise, by the Emperor, you say nasty things about the Imperium. Heresy, I know, it's extra heretical. But when they take people, let's just say this, when they take people in, they neuter Well, let's just say they sterilize them. Sterilize them. Force oaths upon them. So basically, people who are not Tau who enter Tau to society, which is a thing that happens with some frequency apparently, they're sterilized, they're brought into the fold, and they're stripped of any individuality. I mean, it's the Homer Toaster Halloween episode where everybody gets lobotomized and so on. That's Tau society, and so it's like, you know, if that was a limited thing to where Tau kept their society to themselves, that'd be fine. But they do conquer, they do bring in other races, and they do a pretty terrible job of it. And yes, Looney, I completely understand that one of the commissars would probably be putting a bolt in my cranium about right now if what I said was brought to light. But that's not going to happen. I'm too smart for them. All right, number 5, and I'm missing a lot. I'm probably going to go over a lot that like I just completely forgot about or I didn't really think about. And I want to give some space too for non-evil. Let's just make category 6 non-evil. And this doesn't mean that they're not destructive or that they're not terrible. But Tyranids. Tyranids are not evil. They're just a force of destruction in the galaxy. They spread, they conquer, they propagate. They're not evil. Orcs, same. Orcs are weird. But they're not evil. They just kind of go around doing their thing. They like to fight. They like to go fast. They're kind of a force in the universe, but they're less invasive than Tyranids by some degree. And they'll sometimes do things like fight Tyranids, or they'll fight chaos because they think it's fun. The greater good, my perennium. But filthy Xeno scum is incapable of good. Only the Emperor saves. My sword is hatred, let none survive. And yeah, I mean, to that end, like the quote-unquote greater good of the Tau is... it not only is it suspect for a couple of reasons, but it's like, you know, it's just their ultimate end. So Tau might bring other races under their fold to just like, you know, advance their agenda, and that's not good. That's just good for the upper echelon. So yeah, Tyranids, Orcs, Necrons? Question mark? I don't know where I would put the Necrons on the scale. Like, they don't seem like they're evil. They just destroy. And it seems like they were just roboticized and given the instructions to kill all humans, or anything with the soul, and then just do it. But I don't think that there's anything like evil about them per se. And I'm trying to think of some of the other factions in the in 40k, because we went over Chaos, we went over the Tau, we went over Dark Eldar. The Eldar are probably evil too, to a degree. Like, a lot of what they do is still just rooted in very racist sentiment. But like on the Ordinance of Evil, maybe not as much. I don't know. What am I missing here? I feel like I am missing something. So not Tyranids, not Orcs, not Necrons. All Xenos are evil. They shall be cleansed by the glorious fire of the Emperor. Praise be unto his holy name. The Emperor protects. I think that might be it. Come to think of it, I don't know that there's really anything else. I guess I only needed a top 4. God, I swear there was something else. Had to have been something else. We'll just throw Eldar in there. Eldar, they're racist. So they might have turned away from Slaanesh and their hedonistic ways, but they really do look down their nose at everyone. Eldar are just racist. They just, you know, they're not nice to other folk. They'll fuck with the Imperium. They'll make a hard time for everyone. I make a good deranged zealot. That's good. You do make a good deranged zealot. You would be an excellent Adeptus Sororitas, I think. Very good Adeptus Sororitas. But yeah, there's my top 5 list. That took up a lot of time, but I love talking about Warhammer. Hopefully, I didn't get too many of the details wrong. But if anybody else has any other questions, we can field more questions. That being said, we are coming up on an hour and a half, so we can stop soon. If nobody has any other questions, but I am receptive to questions. I'm a question receptacle. I have more 40K questions. Go for it. If red makes orc machines go faster, what does blue do? That's a good question. I don't know. And I have a bunch of the codex books, which I would need to look up. But this is going to be a learning moment for me. What does blue, I'm looking this up, do for orc machines? No, that doesn't work. Orc technology 40K. So I'm looking for the answer, but I'm not finding it. And a lot of it is very tongue-in-cheek. I feel like orcs are the most tongue-in-cheek anything in the game of Warhammer 40K. Here we go. I think I found something. Okay, so here's a list of things that work with the color scale on orc machines. The red ones go faster. Yellow makes you richer and more darkier. The black ones make you tougher. Blue ones make you luckier. Purple makes you sneaky. White makes you diffy killy. So that's when your every chopper or shooter you got painted white makes death killiness possible even when you're dead. And green is the best, since all orcs are green and mean. As the other colors, there's also checkered paint jobs, which orcs have frequently used as a penchant and sign of strength and luck. So there you go. To go over that without the accent. So yeah, red is speed. Yellow apparently means wealth, which I don't know how Orc would define wealth, but more firepower, so more Daka. Black is like tougher, so it would be harder to destroy. Um, Blue makes you luckier. Purple makes you sneaky. And then white apparently Def Killy. I don't know what Def Killy is, but they don't even explain that one. But apparently white is death. Oh, white. The white color is more deadly. So if they use it on a weapon, it'll do more damage. So there you go. And give me one moment. That was very comprehensive, dear. Thanks. Yeah, and any other questions? Anyone in the chat can answer or ask any question. Do not be afraid to ask questions. And that goes for you, Looney. Don't be afraid to ask more questions. I'm going to step away for just a bare minute to take a picture of something for some friends. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I got a last question, and this one's about D&D. Please ask away. Oh, other than that, how's everyone doing today? I hope well. Whether you're watching this after the fact or at the moment. Even if you have no questions to ask, I hope you are having a great day, and I hope that you are enjoying my stream. Okay, the question is, alright, so in terms of combat, what is your most preferred stat building tendency? Do you build for speed, defense, offense, or something else? So, yeah, let's see. Combat in D&D. Do I have a preferred stats build? Question mark. So it really, really depends. Depends on the class. So for instance, a barbarian, strength, strength all the way. A wizard, intelligence above all. But I think the more important thing to note is that in D&D, you always want to have a high constitution if you can help it. Like, it might be your fourth one down, but you never, if you can, do not make constitution your dump stat if you can help it. Like, if it is out of 6, if it is number 5 on your priority list, do that, but don't make it the last one. Unless you are very confident or you are okay with your character deck. Constitution governs hit points. So it doesn't matter what class I play. It doesn't matter if I'm like a wimpy wizard. It doesn't matter if I'm trying to be some kind of like a ranged archer type that probably won't get hit a lot in combat. Constitution always is a good idea. Always a good idea. Because your survival, yeah. Your ability to survive is going to be dependent on your hit points no matter what. There's a couple of things that bypass that, but they're relatively rare. And it's almost never going to hurt to have more hit points. Also, just having a higher constitution saving throw is super important for so many things, and especially if you're a wizard. So, hit points, too important. Constitution saving throws, super important, and even more so for wizards to maintain lengthy spells. So Constitution is just such an important one. And a lot of people will tell you that Dexterity is like the god stat. Dexterity is super important because Dexterity lets you hit things. Dexterity lets you avoid being hit by things. Dexterity is always better than Strength. I like Strength. I like a good Strength build. And I like that some of the ability scores, some of the character classes make Strength a priority. But you want Strength sometimes. And if you have a relatively low dex, that's like, sure, play it that way. Be a big beefy tank. And what people don't understand is that the game is a game of compromises, and that sounds terrible, but it's like you either do a lot of damage with a strength weapon, or you do less damage with a dexterity weapon, but you're more agile. You can avoid damage. But no matter what, you're always going to have something that's going to make your day hurt. If you're a rogue, sometimes you just get hit by a big attack. If you're a paladin with high strength and low dex, you're going to get hit by a fireball, and you're going to have a bad day. But basically, always go with the stat. I'm going to write that down. Always go with the ability for stat relevant to your character. So that's going to be charisma, intelligence, wisdom for spellcasters. Why is man, how am I typing this? That's terrible. Yes, wisdom, please, and thank you. For spellcasters. Okay, see? And strength for fighters, barbarians. Some rangers And I feel like I'm missing one. Actually, I'll remove Rangers. Paladins. Asterisk. And Rangers. Asterisk. Then you have multi-attribute dependencies. Or MADs. So the asterisk is, for instance, I'm playing a paladin right now. When you're a paladin, you want high strength, con, and charisma. Because you're a spellcaster that can swing a sword. And you want to be in the front lines, you want to take a hit, you can wear heavy armor, which is good. But you want 3 different things to be super high, and that is multi-attribute dependency. And that's very dangerous for a character. Because that's going to mean that you're gonna build yourself up more slowly than other characters who a rogue really only needs dexterity to be good. They can dump their second stat right into Constitution, so you have to make some very hard choices. Do you put Strength as your highest one, and your spellcasting's not as good? That's kind of tough. Do you put your Constitution on the 3rd tier of that, and your hit points aren't super great? That's going to be tough. Rangers, they can have high Strength or Dex. A lot of people go with Dex over Strength. Con and Wisdom. So same general deal. You can fight, you can cast spells, you're kind of punished for being able to do so. Monks, high Dex. You almost never want to go with a high strength monk. You can do it, just I don't recommend it. Constitution and Wisdom. Similar to Rangers, but monks, AC dependent on Dex and Wiz. The higher your Wisdom and Dexterity scores, the higher your armor class, which is unique to those characters. It's kind of the same way for a Barbarian, but with a Barbarian, let's just name this So Barbarian, you want 2 things, high strength and con. And because Constitution is already such a powerful thing, sure, high strength, high con, build them up all the way, boom, you're done. And that's so easy to do. You might maybe want to do dexterity, but it's not necessary. You don't have to. You can wear medium armor and have a dexterity of 14 and be just fine. Just fine. Absolutely fine. So Barbarian's kind of not a big deal. But so here we see the kind of where things fall in line. And it becomes super important that you do all of the things that you want to do regarding your character as they work. You can have a fighter with low strength and constitution, but they're gonna suck. You can have a wizard with low intelligence. I've seen people do it. You can make it work, but it's harder to do. But I always go back to this. No matter who you are, no matter what you do, you want that constitution as high as you can make it without sacrificing your other character's abilities. Almost always. I hope that answered that question. But with that, we are past an hour and a half. So I think we're gonna kind of wind up to stop here. in just a little bit, but I'm glad everybody who came was able to enjoy the stream, hopefully. Looney, thank you as always. I love you. Thank you for being on my stream and asking questions and being amazing as you always are, and being very chatty in the chat. It brings me joy. Um, and for anybody who happens to be watching now or otherwise, thank you. Thank you for participating and being a part of this. We will keep doing this Mondays. I have a feeling I might be switching to playing games on Thursdays, but we will see how that plan plays out. Satisfactory answer. Awesome. I'm still playing with the format. I'm very sad that we haven't gotten to finish Final Fantasy V in a way that makes sense. I'm still really messing with the schedule, but let me. I'll post on Twitter if I decide to play tomorrow. I'll try and post early so people are aware. But thank you, Looney. I love you, and we will go ahead and stop there. And yeah, there we are. Thank you, everybody. We will be signing off. See you if you wish to see me do more D&D and now Warhammer 40k planning. In fact, I might have to change my my category now, maybe. But if you want to come watch me do some more of this, make sure you come back to next week on Monday, 7:30 Mountain Standard, and I will be here, and we will be discussing the ins and outs of my planning of 8 games a week. So there we go. Thank you all. Have a great night, and remember that I plan and play games for you.